Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 4 of Space Engineers. Sadly today Germ can't be with us. My internet's absolute garbage, so the poor guy had to just sit in the back burner. I don't know how to describe. He's not here right now because he's asleep. I'm here by myself, and I know that you've probably already guessed, but he hasn't been on. He hasn't built any of his little builder thing. I have been on myself though. I did some flooring. For any of you that don't know, interior walls make really, really good flooring. Not because they're super durable or anything, but because they're cheap to make. A lot cheaper than iron plates, since you don't have to have so many steel plates to make the interior walls. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe it does take the exact same amount of resources, but I have less problems with interior walls, and it's good to have a floor very early on. So if you have, say, a rover or something, then you can build little ramps and drive the rover straight up on with no problem whatsoever. If the floor is just framework like this, then the vehicle, like the wheels, won't properly gain traction on top of the framework. So it can be important to lay some flooring. If you can't afford the flooring because you can't find an iron deposit or something like that, then usually what I'd like to do is I'll bring up a pipe, bring it out, bring it down, and then I'll put the connector on top, and I'll put either a piston on it, or I'll do some sort of weird rotor thing that works half the time, and half the time explodes literally everything, but it's fun, so hey, there's that. Normally, if you don't have flat ground like this, or at least like semi-flat, what you can do is you can place blocks a little bit further out. You always want to face the blocks outside. The way we place this isn't perfect, but you want to find out the angle of the ground, and you can see I'm sort of kind of parallel with it right now. You want to place it to where the higher point is on the right side of this, so that way when you place these, you can place these into the ground, and then you can get rid of these. So that way you have something that's closer to the ground. It's easier to drive on top of, and you don't have to put ramps everywhere, and everything stays nice and flush. Of course, I let Germ do it because I'm a lazy bastard. But this lazy bastard did some freaking work. I took this respawn pod and modified the living hell out of it to where it looks fancy. Fancy! So there's some very specific modifications that I want to talk about on the respawn pod itself. Now, the drill at the front, you've already seen, but I put these thrusters on the top. You always want more thrust at the front or wherever your drill is at, because that's where the majority of the weight's going to come out first. And if you need to get out of a hole, it's good to have at least 4. I have 3 here, which isn't a huge deal. I can always drop those 2 or those 3 right there. Get rid of the ore detector, and put another thruster in there. But you don't want too many ion thrusters, or atmospheric thrusters, my bad. Because the more thrust that you have, yes, it might be good, but the more battery power you have to have. Which gets me to my actual structural stability part, the thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. So as you can see, I have these iron or light armor blocks going across here on top of the batteries. So something not a lot of people take into consideration is if you have like a large cargo container and you build stuff off of it, normally what's going to happen is if you hit the ground in any way, shape, or form, which is why I have this little blast door edge just in case something spiky wants to come up and hit it. If this thing falls off, those batteries fall off, and now I don't have power. But if the large cargo container breaks first, I'll still have these on because I have these light blocks that are lining the top of it. Also, these give it just a little bit of more protection. And next, I want to talk about stability and landing. Something that's very, 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 very important. So the longer, wider, or bigger your vehicle is, if these are see how like close these are to the actual vehicle itself? If they were down further, it wouldn't be an issue. But since it's so close to the vehicle itself, you want a good amount of them. Always in the middle of the vehicle is where the low point is going to be when you land the vehicle, because the ground, if it's on a hump, it will go like this arch, and say then it goes down here. So it's like a hump. Now if you land a little too hard, what'll happen is it will break this part of the vehicle first. And that will lead to structural instability, or, well, not structural instability, but it will lead to further damage and further damage over time, or you land a little too hard, it will explode. And I don't want these thrusters to bottom out. I don't want this vehicle to bottom out. So you want to place landing gear in the middle, usually, of your vehicles. That, or you can place blast door edges, since they have a really, really good... like, they can take a lot of damage before they break. So they're really good for that. I have one on the bottom of the large container. I have these two off of the battery. I wanted to put a blast door edge above that so that there's like a cushion between this and the battery. I think it's just more paranoia than anything. I don't think it's really going to hurt it at all, but you know, paranoia is paranoia. What else? I think that's about it. There's the connector on the back like normal. Everything's mapped out. Everything's got a group. Everything is working out fine. And you'll see the extra batteries on the side that I've already talked about. There are 3 batteries in this vehicle. Now, 3 batteries is not a lot. I usually put around 5 batteries, but never on a respawn pod, of course. Usually on like hydrogen miners and stuff like that. And you might be asking yourself, why do you put so many batteries on hydrogen miners? And it's for a really good reason. Because hydrogen miners, you're usually going to be taking out a very far distance or something like that. And you're going to need to refill a lot. And those hydrogen miners, I'm going to take this out while I'm talking. Turn it off of recharge. Don't be an idiot. They're turned on 6. Wah! Why didn't it fly? Oh. It's because they aren't all turned on. Nice. You'll see, a good test of your vehicle is to test all 3 directions at once to see if you have enough batteries. And as you can see, I got 25 minutes going up, to the right, and also forward. Now I'm going to do back, up, and... Okay, that's good. Back, left, and up. This vehicle can go up very, very fast because it has a lot of downward thrust. It's a very, very good vehicle for now, but of course it's very bulky, which is going to be a huge, huge problem. So I don't have as many drills as this thing is, which I do need to fix. I need to put some more drills in the front, to at least have 3 drills in the front to account for this thing being so absolutely massive. Now, normally if I have a vehicle and I don't have enough forward thrust, what you'll do is you'll get to the lowest part of the mountain where iron is being, you know, you can see iron, and iron is going to be right about there. And then I'm going to dig in straight, because straight is so much easier to do than down. Down you have to go in like a circular motion to be able to do it all. This way I can fit the entire vehicle by holding right click and going through the little bit of the mountain, and the forward thrusters can handle it. The problem with going through a tunnel like this without 3 drills is that soon I will lose my camera. Indeed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it back. Then I'm going to open this up just a bit more on the left and the right. You don't have to do a lot, just find it to where you think is going to be a little bit of the same, and you want to dig in beside it, so that way you can make 2 channels, which will make it as big as 3. Like 3 passes. Well, you'll have to do 3 passes because you're going to have to go through the middle to clean it up. Which this is normally how I flatten out an area, is I'll do this same thing, except I'll keep it perfectly level. I'll hold right click, and I'll use something like a leveler on the vehicle itself to keep the vehicle's drills or stuff level. I would show you guys an example on screen, but I unfortunately lost my world. The world that I had, all of them are gone, and it's due to my own ignorance because I got rid of I wiped my C drive, as I've said multiple times during the series, and it's been terrible. It's been really rough. Um, I've had nothing but problems out of it so far. And Windows, it's so annoying, man. It's bloatware at this point, and it's pissing me off, man. Why at idle am I using up 2 gigabytes of RAM? Well, not entirely 1.7, but still, almost 2 gigabytes of RAM are being used up at idle, and that's quite a lot. So on a vehicle like this, when you're in a tunnel or something, what you want to do is you want to be careful of the angle, especially if you don't have a lot of forward momentum, but you have a lot of storage space on the vehicle itself. You want to pay close attention to your front thrusters. You see how they're almost at full usage? You never want them to be at full usage, and you want to pay close attention to your ones that are facing down. How active are those thrusters? Are they super active? Are they just barely trying? And as you can see, you also want to pay attention down at the bottom right, your power, because it's going to require a lot more power at full power to keep the vehicle stable, level, and flying than it would be normally to, I'm sorry about that angle, to keep a vehicle that's barely heavy floating. And as you can see, it went from an hour to 50 something minutes. Now, I know I have enough battery on this, and it might scare you sometimes when you look at it and you're like, oh, it's almost out of power so fast. Just look at your batteries as well, okay? Sometimes it doesn't report exact usage, so just take a look at your battery, see that it's still almost full, it's green, there's not too much wrong with it, so you're going to be fine for a good while. So you can just keep on trucking. 45 minutes, no big deal. Of course, this is also battery usage while the drill is running. Widen this up a little bit. Now, with heavier vehicles, you are going to need more gyroscopes. Gyroscopes become very, very important because of the amount of weight you're going to be putting on the vehicle. Usually, a good number is around 4 or 5. You can do 6 or 7, or you can even do 10. There is a setting on the gyroscope itself that allows you to turn down the power that the gyroscopes use, which can be better because you've got a lot more, so that way, you know, it kind of accounts for needing more, but also you're not using as much power. The big problem comes when you have that many gyroscopes. The big problem is that you end up using, you end up trying to turn or something, and you're flying off in some random direction, because just one slight little turn, and now you're just flinging yourself in space. So there's a lot to it, and if you guys really enjoy this vehicle right here, or you think this respawn pod is cool and you want to actually see a video dedicated to modifying the respawn pod or pimping out your ride, the respawn pod that you have when you start the game, I will make a dedicated video. At least more than 2 or 3 people, maybe 4 people, I'll say. If 4 people in the comments ask for it, I will do it. No problemo. Lock that in place. Turn the batteries to recharge. Set the thrusters to off. And reap the rewards. So that little trip right there has probably, yep, the connector's already got 4, and the basic refinery's got 6. With as much iron as I just got, we're going to be able to build a large refinery, an assembler, and there's plenty of resources around us, so there's going to be a lot that we can do. which is really, really nice. You don't really usually get areas like this that are super resource rich. Normally I'm mining stone for hours and hours because I can't find any resources anywhere. And if you are dealing with that scenario, it's best to build something called a drill rig for it. Fudge it, I'll do it for the video. Make a couple more of those. I'll just build the basic blueprint of one so you can see what it looks like or what it's supposed to look like. You're going to need pistons. You're going to need rotor. I always just take the advanced rotor. I usually, I like rotors and all, but if you take regular rotors, you can mess it up very easily. Specifically, take out an advanced rotor, or you can very easily screw yourself over. Conveyor conjunctions, and these should be the 3 things that you need. I might be forgetting something or just being blatantly ignorant of what I need. I don't want to get rid of our hole. Germ dug this on his own. Okay. Go up pretty high, not too high. I'm going to go out a good distance, though. I don't want to put it right next to the base. Alright, that's good. And then what I want to do is I want to put a conveyor junction. The reason I put a conveyor junction here is because I can easily build off that to build like a second one out here. Or I could put a large refinery on top of it if I needed to, or a large container or something like that if I wanted to have more space. But I don't like doing that normally. Large containers are, well, very large, but also very obnoxious. Because they're big, they're large, they're in charge, but they're also just painfully hard to maneuver around. Well, personal opinion. I like them beneath the ground. So I'll take this small cargo container, I'll go one beneath it with a pipe, and then beneath our little platform here, I'll put a large container beneath it, and then beneath that, I'll put a hydrogen container so that way I can refill hydrogen stuff in that manner. Let's see here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. That's too close to the ground, so I'm going to need to put it up a little bit higher, but I'll just do 2 for the video. I don't want to fiddle with this for too long. Besides, you can always upgrade from this point. And it's, again, the advanced rotor and the regular rotor look almost the exact same. Maybe even the exact same, unwelded up. They look identical, so identical, in fact, that I've done this multiple times where I've accidentally just done the complete wrong thing. Whoop, that sucks. Anyways, you would put a line of drills out from this position. I'll do this. Of course, I would still have it on a rotor, but I'm just going to do this to show you. I'd have it out. Now, it's not easy to get a lot of resources very early on. So normally I don't actually build up everything perfectly. Of course, I build up the pistons, and I build up that, and I build up the drills. But I don't make every single freaking drill. I make probably 2 to 3 drills, maybe even 4 if I got enough resources and I've mined for a good bit. Usually you want to get like a little mining rig like this set up, and you want to have a connector set up and all that, and then you'll mine a bunch of stone, come back, and mine a bunch of stone, come back, and then you'll build this drill rig, which is a lot better to do, so that way you have the resources than just trying to do it by hand. I mean, nobody likes doing it by hand. It takes a freaking long ass time. Then you'll go down slowly. So what I like to do personally is I like to go down by like 5 increments of 5. But if you're too lazy and you don't want to go down by increments of 5, and you don't really care if this explodes or goes everywhere, then you'll set them to around like 0.05. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I don't know if it's 0.005 or 0.05. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been so long since I built the drill rig. And then the rotor, you usually want to have it like 2. And the reason you want the rotor going so fast is because you want it to be able to do a full circle. Now you can have the rotor going nice and slow, but there's not really much point in it going super duper slow, um, or the exact rate as each one needs. But there is a threshold. You cannot have it going super duper fast, because if it's going too fast, then it won't have time to actually mine. You have to give it a little bit of leeway on that department. You have to do it at a reasonable speed. It can't just be super omega fast.com. It needs to be at least reasonable. And I've royally screwed the pooch here. So something that I forgot to mention is your respawn, your survival kit. You don't want to have that on your survival pod. I have it on my survival pod because I'm used to playing on like official servers where I will build something similar to this, not exactly this, and I will just fly around the server, getting resources, getting ready to go to space, and then I will take everything off this, strip it all down, or just leave it all together, and I'll go to space. And once you get to space on a official server, it gets really boring. There's never really anybody. The most fun thing that you can do on an official server is probably just doing missions, and then running into the occasional player. I think that's the big problem with this game. Is it's so massive that if you want to get competitive at it, it's kind of difficult unless you actually go on like a YouTuber server or something like that. Because then they have like, oh, active battle on Planet K, or there's that one server, Mad Max server. Oh man, The Last Stand Gaming. I love that guy's content, but I hate his intro, man. It's so bad. Well, the intro's fine, but it's so loud that it annoys me. I can't stand it. It's too loud for my ears. I don't like it personally. Because it goes from like, hey guys, how are you doing? I mean, I hate that. I hate it when you're watching somebody on YouTube and they go from, hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to show my intro now, to bun dun 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 dun. And it's like, turn it down, dude. Turn it down. Do you really need your intro to be louder than your soul? Yeah, it infuriates me. It really does. I get very, very angry when YouTube channels do that. I mean, I love music, man, but you're ruining my ears. And I can't listen to music if you continue to blast music as loud as your intro. A couple of my friends have actually done it really well. If you look at the Wet Dreamcasters, I got a friend named Pethoon as part of the Wet Dreamcasting team. They are all really phenomenal. The Mediocre Moose, I've played with him a lot when it comes to CS. I haven't played with him recently though. He's been doing his own thing. I think he's just been uploading videos. I haven't seen him active in his Discord, but then again, I'm not the best friend, you know. I haven't been paying close attention, which I probably should have. Bethune, he does a really great job because I get pissed at him all the time. Every time he like goes and is like, oh, I'm editing a video. I'm like, cool, can I see? I'd love to watch. And then he starts to edit his video and he plays his intro and I'm like, crank that bitch down, crank that bitch down. Of course, if I wasn't there, he would have cranked it down anyways, because he's really good about that stuff. But I want to take credit. I mean, I want to take credit. It's my credit to take. It's mine. I want it. Give it here. My hands are open. Give it to me. Anyways. Oh, God. Walking in Space Engineers is so much fun. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, man. Bouncing in Space Engineers has to be one of the most iconic things ever. Well, one of the most iconic things to talk about when you're talking about Space Engineers specifically. It's bouncing. Because it's just, if anyone has ever recommended you Space Engineers, all you got to do is just ask that person, how's the bouncing going for you? You know, and if anybody's played the beginning of the game and, you know, hasn't cheated their way, they'll probably respond with horrible. Because it's not. I mean, it's cool, actually. It's really cool. So if you, like, fly and then turn off your dampeners, you can hover across the ground, which uses less hydrogen. But it's not good, because you'll end up flying in some random direction and getting yourself killed, because if you hit the ground just right, it'll hit you'll just clip or something, and boom, you're dead. And now you got to go grab your resources and everything. So it can be worth it. It cannot be worth it sometimes. A good rule of thumb: always carry at least 2 to 3 hydrogen containers to your 1 oxygen container, and always at least carry 1 power kit. I've had so many times where I've gotten lost out in space, floating around in asteroids, and just I'm like, oh, I can make it, I can make it, I can make it. I get closer and I get closer, and I die. I die on my way to getting my freaking to getting back because I suffocate. And it's not because I didn't have oxygen, it's because I didn't have power. You run out of power way sooner than you run out of oxygen. With 1 oxygen bottle, of course. You'll run out of power before you run out of oxygen in space. That's it for this video. I will catch you guys in the next episode. Hopefully you guys enjoy this series. Hopefully I haven't been just making it for Ghosts, because that's all that I've seen currently on my channel. If you like the video, make sure to unsubscribe and dislike the video. And if you want more, just go ahead and type in the comments, Scar is a furry. I mean, it has to happen. Just do it. Why aren't you doing it yet? My channel is practically a furry channel. Have you not seen the furry icons? It's practically a furry channel. That's what I've been told by friends. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.